Hey guys, welcome back to Pixel Street Videos. Today, me and Adam Gumby of Respawning Fire, Isle of Misfit Rolls. I almost said Misfit Toys. Wow.
That's
Um,
the point. That's the point.
yeah. And I, are you in anything else?
No, that's
Respawn?
really
No,
it.
no, that's it. Okay, all
That's the
right.
two. Yeah.
It's our friend Adam. He's back. He's joining me, and we are talking all about As Dusk Falls. This will be a spoiler discussion for the story, so if you haven't finished it, don't watch this. Beat it. Come back. Check out. See what endings we got, and we'll compare notes and everything. Before we get into everything, Adam, what did you think of this game? Because I think you like narrative games like this, right?
Certain ones.
Yeah.
I either love it or I hate it a lot. So Telltale, like most of that stuff. Life is Strange. I got into one of them. Don't like the rest of them.
Okay.
So that's a really hit and miss series for me. This one I did enjoy.
All right. Yeah. I typically I love all the Life is Stranges, some more than others. Two I am not a fan of. But I do like the Telltale games and all that stuff. And overall, I thought this game was pretty good. I wouldn't put it up there with like one of my favorites with like The Walking Dead, Life is Strange True Colors, and Tales from the Borderlands. It's not up there, but I thought the story here was pretty good, and I it was interesting enough to keep me going, right?
Yeah, I think the number one thing about this game is I really enjoy the story. I think the writing is very good. I think the characters are very well acted, and the choices actually matter in this game. It seems like
Mm-hmm.
because they show you that overbranch or that overarching like branch, and it seems like, oh, there's a lot of choices that will actually make things very different. So I like how that actually matters compared to other narrative games where like it changes one thing but you get the same ending no matter what. So that's cool. Like I said, I like the actors, I like the writing. The only thing that will put people off is the art style,
I
because
yeah.
I did not like it in chapter one. I eventually got used to it, and it didn't bother me for the rest of the game. But in that first chapter, I was like, this is a choice.
Yeah, I overall did not like the art style. I'm with you. I kind of got used to it after a while, but it's just kind of like a hand painted storybook thing, and I just don't think it looks good. It looks really weird to me, especially when they try and combine the like 2D images with like 3D objects, like when they're in cars and stuff. I'm like, this just doesn't look good. But
Yeah,
oops,
everything's animated except for the characters. The
yeah,
characters are the art.
yeah.
And they looked exactly like the actors, so that's fun when you actually like go on IMDb and like I was trying to figure out who did what, because I thought somebody famous was in here. It ended up not being someone I thought it was. But I'm like, oh no, all of these actors just look exactly like their characters.
Yeah,
It was pretty fun.
yeah, I did see them talking about the dog, how they like put that into the game and everything. So that stuff was pretty cool. So yeah, I was thinking we should go about talking about our story experience by going by each character individually, because almost every character has a different ending depending on your choices. Not all of them, but most of them do. So I think we should start off with the guy you start the game as, Vince. How did your Vince in the story?
You want just the ending or what I did with him throughout?
Give me like a whole thing, like because
Okay.
he is the father of Zoe, the husband of Michelle. They're moving across state from or across the country from Sacramento, I want to say, to St.
Mhm.
Louis. He's got a lot going on with his job and everything. But how did you handle him?
So I played him very much. Again, you start the game, you're moving, you get in a hostage situation, and then after the hostage situation, his story's basically done. So like in book one, or whatever they call it, first three episodes. After that, he's done. So I played that as, all right, I'm going across country. I'm with my family. Try to keep the peace. I'm going to do. I was always family first, so I wasn't like confrontational fighting with the hostage, with the criminal, the family, because I'm like I want to get my family safe. Like I'm just my number one goal was to keep them safe. I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers. Not trying to take a gun and shoot anybody. I just want to make sure that they're safe, and that's all I was concerned about. So that was every time I was like working with everybody. I think it said I played very kind or compassionate or whatever the play style was.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of it, I chose to sue the airline company. So he ends up, him and Michelle stay together because I didn't confront her about the text message because I'm like, You shouldn't be looking at her phone, bro. Also, you're moving tomorrow. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so him and Michelle stay together. I sent Zoe out to the police car, and he becomes a flight instructor of his own school, which is what his dream always was. With the money he wins from the settlement, from
Okay.
suing, instead of taking the settlement, he sues and gets more money and does.
All right.
So, happy ending all around. It seemed.
Yeah.
For Vince.
Yeah, you got a very good ending. My Vince died, and it was out of my control.
Okay.
So once, so I'm guessing that when it came down to it at the end of book 1 or episode 1, whatever they call it, the 3rd chapter, where the Holts are trying to take Zoe as their hostage in the car and leave, did you beg to take him instead?
Yes, and they took him.
As a dad, I don't think anyone would ever not just let their daughter go.
A 6-year-old at that.
Like, yeah, absolutely. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I was like, no, I couldn't. I don't know if I could really will myself, even in like a bad playthrough, to do that. But so yeah, when I went in the car, got away from them, hid in the woods and everything, and there's a moment where Vince is like, "Hey Jay, let me out of the car. I can run away." And I said no, because I thought that his brother Tyler was sitting there with a shotgun and would just shoot him and kill him. So I kept him there. And then when they left, they were just driving, and then there was like a bobcat in the road, and they crashed, and Vince died in that car crash.
Oh, he died in a car crash.
And I was like, what? Like, really? I had there was no way to avoid the crash or anything. He was just dead because I kept him in the back seat, but everyone else still lived. So I was kind of upset about that. But overall, I think I played Vince pretty similar to you. There were moments where I would kind of, I would like test the Holtz during the hostage situation. Michelle, I also didn't get involved with the text message thing. I did find out, though, from doing some research, that she does admit the cheating on him and everything.
You can choose the other stuff.
Yeah. My Michelle got shot during the hostage situation. When the first time there's a shootout in the lobby, I tried making a run for it, and when I did that, she got shot in the back, and I removed the bullet, and she went to the hospital, and she was fine and everything. She actually lived, but because she was removed from the situation. But yeah, I did not have Zoe go out to the police. I had Michelle because she was hurt, and I figured she would die if she stayed there.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even have a choice to send Michelle because she wasn't hurt.
Yeah.
It was between Zoe and his dad. That's my 2 choices to send out to the car.
Oh, yeah, nope. Mine was Michelle and Zoe, and because Michelle had the bullet wound, I was like, okay, I gotta get her out of here. What asshole's not letting the little girl go, too? I mean, come on.
In hindsight, though, I'm like, ooh, maybe you shouldn't, because these cops are bad. But
Yeah, that is another question I wanted to ask of you. So Dante, the entire time, he's looking for his black book because he is a corrupted sheriff. He's bribing people, taking money, and he's working with these debt collectors in some way. I don't think it's ever really fully explained how much he's into his. We just know that he's a corrupt person, and you see that very early on once he gets a hold of Vince. Did you end up working with him at all or anything?
So I didn't fail too many. So the only gameplay in the game really is making choices, and there's a couple QTEs. This was one of. So he gave Vince the pager. He's like, "You gotta help me out." I already had a feeling he was. Well, I already knew he was corrupt. Like I had a bad feeling about this guy. So when it was like, "Hey, go look for the black book in their bag," I just failed it on purpose. I was like, "Oh, I couldn't look in the bag. Sorry, dude." So basically, the entire time I did not work with him. I didn't go against him. It was just like I wasn't, like, screw you, I'm not helping you out. But I would be like, "Oh, I gotta be safe. I can't do anything crazy." So I basically was like towing the line between the two. Like I told them about the pager the minute I could, but I kind of towed the line between both of them. So neither the police or the Holtz weren't really mad at Vince either way. They because I did enough stuff for both people. They were like, all right, Vince is cool, I guess. So yeah, I didn't really help him until the game forces you to do certain stuff.
Yeah, even before it comes out that the black book has a lot of incriminating information on Dante. All the other characters really lay it out that this is not a great guy. Even his cousin, who's a part of the hostage situation, he's like, don't trust him. He's not a great guy. So I was like, okay. I kind of did the same thing as you. I tiptoed between them. I did succeed on the searching the bag thing. It wasn't there, so it just came up as
I think
nothing.
it's in the truck anyways, right?
Yeah, so it's in the truck, so it doesn't really matter if you fail or entertain it. What about when you go out with Dale? Did you let him get shot by the sniper in the forehead, or did you warn him?
No, I warned him.
You warned him? Okay, so I believe no matter what you do, Dale dies at the hostage situation.
He eventually dies.
He died for you later on in a shootout, I'm guessing?
Yeah, whenever they drive the bus into the building, he gets shot there.
Yeah, so for me, I let him get shot. I wasn't really thinking about it. In all honesty, if I could go back and remake that decision, I probably would just warn him, because I was like, I was just like, man, I hate this guy. I want him dead. I'm just gonna let him die. But then I was like, wait, hostage situation. Tyler literally said he's gonna hurt a hostage if he dies. So once he dies, Joyce, the owner of the motel, instantly gets shot by Tyler. And I was like, oh, that was a bad idea. So that was the end of Joyce's story for me. I was a little disappointed about that.
Yeah, I guess if you make certain decisions, she just, So actually, it's kind of messed up. I think she kicks Dale into the bullet, like they're behind the counter as a shootout, and she's like, "Get off of me!" As he like tries to pick her up and take her as a hostage, and she kicks him into the middle of the room, and he gets shot. No one knows it's Joyce. She gets away fine, but she causes his death.
Okay.
Because she's like, "Get off of me! Don't."
Yeah, that's an outcome I would have rather had. Yeah. I'm sad about that. All right.
She lives.
Yeah, awesome. I wish mine would have lived. I felt really bad when they show the aftermath of the hostage situation, and you got Ash, her son, that comes in, and they tell him that she died. And then right next to them was Vince's dad and daughter, who had also died at this point for me, and they told him, and then they went to the hospital to show Michelle, telling her that he died, and it was just a lot of sad.
Things going all kinds of bad.
Yeah, it was. And at first I was like, okay, I'm handling this okay. Things went bad really fast for me, and I was sad. Yeah. So let's move on to Jay, because he is, I would guess he's probably the character you play as the most in this game, at least in the second book. You're pretty much almost exclusively playing as him, because it's the story of how he is escaping the law, and if he does, and all this. So how did Jay end up in your game?
Oh man, yeah, I think you play him as basically every chapter, if not like 5 out of 6. You play him a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, of course, I remember. I do love how they do this. So, like, oh, you got to remember. Here's the code, brother. At the very beginning of the game, when you're going to rob the dude. I wonder what happens if you just don't remember the code because he loses the piece of paper. Maybe you just don't get in.
I believe it's just you don't get any money, But I think Dante still arrives and things still happen. You're caught for intruding and everything. Real quick, speaking of the robbery, how did you interact with his wife? Because she's in a wheelchair in her room. She finds you and she's about to call for help. How did you handle that situation?
I failed the thing and she hit the button and called for help.
So you tried to stop it and you failed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in my game, I just was like, oh, she's there, she's gonna run for it. I didn't want to hurt her or anything, so I ran for the other room. So she got the button as well and warned him. But I did go back and see that if you destroy the button before she gets to it, she's actually really cool. She's like, once you tell her, oh, I'm just here for the money, she's like, oh, okay, screw him. I hate him. What? And I was like, really? It was that easy?
You just talked to her.
Yeah.
No, I failed it, and then he puts the thing up against the door, and I guess she's just in there. So I guess Dante comes no matter what. But you got the money, you had to remember the code. That was fun, actually having to remember something. Yes. Leave the house. The cop shoots himself as he's fighting with my brother, because I make for the door, like you told me.
I had that as well, yes.
Which he's injured the rest of the time. Let's see, he based a lot of nice stuff. Again, he was... So... because he wasn't like his brothers, like I got that feeling immediately. So I'm like, I'm not gonna have him be like a bloodthirsty killer because he's clearly not like his brothers are.
Yeah.
I of course helped my family out and did all that, but didn't do anything crazy. Helped Zoe, all that good stuff. What else? What are the other choices? I guess the big one is eventually when I didn't cut his dad down.
Okay.
Which is a scene that you can skip if you have problems with that
I
kind of
did
stuff.
cut him down. That one does not make a huge impact on the story. It really, all it changes is at the end if he's laying down flowers at the gravesite for Dale and potentially Tyler.
Yeah, no, for me it was Dale and Bear who were dead, and everyone else was alive. So did all that. So eventually, when you do the split up, because you're escaping with your mom and your brother, and they're like, "Hey, we only got 2 seats on this motorcycle, and he's not even technically your real son." Your brother's being all mean to you about it. I let my brother live. I helped him out whenever he was falling off a tree. So I guess to maybe changes his outcome. I started going. What he looked like that? He was chasing me through the woods.
Did you run from him?
Yeah.
Like you were going to abandon them?
Oh, no, he got mad. I forgot what happened. They're going through it. He argues, and then he starts to leave. So he's like, we got to kill him because he knows the plan.
You stayed and helped them fight off the cops that had arrived at the cabin?
No cops showed up in my game.
Oh, okay. So you didn't reveal the cabin to them as
Ash.
Ash. Okay, I did,
No.
and I had cops there that I was fighting off. Okay.
No, it was just us.
Go ahead and tell me what you did, and then I'll tell you what I did.
Yeah. No, I just did that. He was like, "All right, I'm out. I'm leaving. Your brother chases you. There's confrontation. I help him. I don't let him hurt himself." So I think that affects his ending being an okay ending. And then he starts running. You meet that girl, of course, Vanessa. Everything goes okay there. I start escaping, and basically we Bonnie and Clyde it. We're together, and we escape into Canada. And then he ends up. I think she eventually leaves after a couple years because she's like, "I was 16. What was I doing?" But she helped you get to Canada, and then you're just living in Canada peacefully. Like no cops show up, no one knows you're there, and he's just living his life. And then eventually you meet Zoe at the very end.
Yeah.
So again,
we'll get to that final decision here in a bit. But going back to my experience at the cabin, I did reveal the cabin to Dante as Ash. So once everyone arrived at the cabin, I had it where Jay found out he's actually adopted and all that stuff, and immediately the cops came and started shooting at them. And I was like, I don't like Sharon, I don't like Tyler, I don't like these guys at all. Like, I don't like that Jay went along with this at any point. They just constantly treat him like shit. So I was like, you know what, I'm out of here. So I abandoned them, and while they were in a gunfight, and I had to run away from some cops in the woods, and I got away. During that part, though, I did go back and play a couple different ways to see just how different that could be for me. There is a way for, if you stay and help them fight, in my ending, Tyler got shot and died. If I ran away again, there's also a point where you can shoot a cop that's trying to hold you up or just surrender to him. I surrendered in my playthrough, but I went back and I shot him the second time, and Jay does something stupid. He kills him, looks at the gun, and then just tosses it into the forest and runs away. I was like, idiot. They're definitely going to find that.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. I surrendered. I got brought into the FBI agent. He was like doing the whole good cop thing with me. He's like, hey, you don't look like a killer and everything. I just see a scared boy. Help me out and I'll help you out. And he actually got me on one thing. He was like, he tricked me with his word usage. He's like, oh, the debt collector that you like tried burying and real quick, did he live for you or did he die?
He lived for me.
Okay, he died on my end because I wasn't expecting a QTE, and the father got the shovel from me and killed him. Gotcha. He's like, hey, we found this body in the woods. We need to know, was he alive when he was buried or was he dead, and did you do this? And I was like, I was thinking back to it. I was like, no, I didn't even want to be there. My dad made me do it. And when I said that, he's like, all right, he just confessed to killing this guy. I was like, what? Yeah. No, I didn't kill him. My dad did. I was like, God damn it. So the entire rest of the game, I'm running away from that. Met Vanessa. Vanessa was cool. There's also a really small point in there where you have to do that memory thing, like we were talking with the safes, when the dad's like, hey, what school are you from? And I read the letter, but I did not remember it at all. I completely guessed and I got it right. It was Bridgely.
Okay. There you go.
So that was cool. I don't know if that makes it bad or anything. I snuck away. She got with me. We ended up jumping into the water together, going into Canada. No one died or anything. I was kind of disappointed to see that she leaves you no matter what. I was like, we'd gone through all of that already. I was like, I don't know. I feel like she was a wanted criminal at that point too for helping a fugitive. So how did she go back to America and just live her life? I don't understand how that happened without
I'm
Jay.
assuming because Dad runs a private military company. That's she was
Maybe.
I had to assume. Because I was with you. I was like, why didn't you say the other? But I was also like, she was 16 years old. Probably making a bad choice.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I did look up some different endings for her, and no matter what choice you make, she does not end up with Jay. There are various points in the story where she will leave him, like during the checkpoint on the road. If you speed off and hit the cop, she'll leave you right there.
You hit the cop.
I didn't. I looked it up.
Yeah, I just waited for it.
I waited for it because they said on the radio, "Oh, we're having some problems." I'm like, "Oh, they're just gonna let me through," and that's what they did. But I did see a video where someone ran him over, and she freaks out at that point. And yeah, I was also really cool with her at the party and everything. I let her do whatever she wanted, but also was really understanding. I let her know the truth. I figured if you didn't tell her the truth that she would probably freak out later, so
it's gonna come out eventually, right?
Yeah, I told her the truth and she just went along with me. But yeah, going through all that and like having this great bond with her, and then just at the end you don't even see her. It's just like, oh yeah, she's been gone for a few years. It's like, okay, that character was completely pointless this entire time.
Yeah, she was real cool for 2 episodes and she's gone.
Yeah. My Sharon, she got arrested. I turned her in at Paul's place.
Oh, as Paul?
Yeah.
Which is really cool. You get to play as Paul randomly all of a sudden.
I was not expecting that, and I also wasn't expecting him to be the one that gave them the safe code.
Yeah, he did. He's like, I didn't mean for you to do that.
Yeah.
But you gave her up, huh?
Yeah, I gave her up. That one I could have gone either way, because obviously I didn't like Dante and I didn't like Sharon. Either one. But really what made me choose to give her up was how manipulative she was being with Paul. And I was like, Paul seems like a good guy. He gave up the safe. Obviously, he could not have known that it would have gone as far as it did. He was like very kind-hearted all the rest of the time. He was like very much like, put the gun down. We have to take care of people here. I think he made a mistake, and that was like, that's something that will haunt him for the rest of his life. But then having Sharon appear in his bed and be like, oh, let's run away together, come with me. I was like, no, bitch. Like,
yeah, absolutely not.
My boy Paul, he's got his cat here, and they're fine, okay? Like,
he's cool. Yeah.
He doesn't need to become a fugitive. He has a life. He can find a new job. He can rebuild and all that. I hated Sharon as a character. Did she get caught for you?
Oh, this is insane. So I don't know if a thing I did is supposed to happen. So first of all, when I was looking up IMDb, Sharon is, I think, the same actress who plays Celine from Returnal. So that's just a cool little...
Oh, that is cool.
That's just a cool thing to say there. So Sharon came over. I was saying with you, I'm like, you're trying to be manipulative. I'm not going to go with you and do this thing. But, I hid all the evidence when Dante shows up. You had to hide the stuff, move the stuff so he doesn't know anyone's there. Eventually, she comes out. And Dante's like, she like stabs him with scissors and he drops his gun or whatever. And he's like, what are you going to do here? And I was like, I'm going to help Dante. But I didn't have my controller in my hand and I failed the QT where you kick the gun to him.
Uh-huh.
So Dante doesn't arrest her and she leaves and she has her good ending because she's able to escape. But Dante's also not mad at you because you tried to help him. You just weren't able to do it.
Oh, okay.
So we actually don't see any more from Dante there after that point. Like, I don't know what happens to him after that, but I'm assuming like whatever. So actually, he probably gets killed by the debt collectors at some point, but whatever.
I didn't see any video of it, but I looked it up and I saw that if you let Sharon go with the book, he gets fired. But I didn't see anything about him getting killed or put in jail or anything. Just
So he didn't get fired, I'm assuming, because I didn't try to let her go. She just happened to escape. So I think if I purposely like turned on her, or if I purposely, turned on him, then maybe he gets arrested. But I didn't see him get arrested because I just failed a QTE.
Yeah,
I didn't actually like
that one. I haven't actually seen. I just read it.
Yeah, read the same thing. So.
Yeah, so that's
she gets her good ending. She's on a beach with a bunch of money, you assume, because she empties that account. I guess the only difference is that sometimes Paul is there if you choose to go with her. If not, she's just on the beach by herself.
All right, yeah. I did feel like that was a pretty abrupt ending because that Dante storyline seemed pretty significant.
Yeah.
And then they just were like, okay, it's done.
There's a lot of hints with Dante, and especially with the very, very end thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is definitely a season 2 or DLC. Like, there's more
absolutely, and that's something we're gonna get to in a bit because I was talking to you about how confused I was when I first beat it. So yeah, let's run through our characters here. We went through Vince, Michelle, Jay, Dale, Tyler, Sharon, Paul. I think we've gone through everyone. So let's.
Yeah, I guess Zoe's the only one.
Let's hit up Zoe. So this entire game is being told in a flashback from Zoe, and you're kind of reliving it. But those choices are how much she is affected during the day, which of her parents are dead, which of them are alive, are they together, are they separated. So you end up going to meet Jay because Jay out of nowhere starts writing her letters and is like, I want to talk with you. I want to.
Well, you do meet. Oh, I don't know for you. I went and talked to Grandpa first.
Yes. You do talk to Grandpa and he has dementia. And he's like, go face your demons with this because she's having a lot of anxiety issues. Obviously being a 6-year-old in a hostage situation, so many things happening that would fuck up a lot of people. Yeah, so you end up seeing Jay. In both of our endings, he was in Canada. You go there, he starts talking about, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. He tells you how he got to where he is right now and everything. And then you can also kind of see his relationship with his family. I asked him if he talks to his family at all, and he said that he doesn't talk to Sharon because she's in jail. He doesn't talk to Tyler because he's in jail. He was sending letters to Bear because he was alive in my game, but he stopped sending them because Bear said that was too dangerous. And so yeah, he's just living his life out in the wilderness in Canada. And then you have the choice. Do you confront him, say your family ruined my life, or do you say I don't hate you? I chose I don't hate you. She seemed to forgive him, go off on her own, and that's how I guess he just lived the rest of his days in Canada. Is that how it went for you?
Yeah, I also forgave him. I was like, yeah, I get it. I mean, on a personal level, I'm like, well, because we play as Jay, like, well, I know what happened because I chose what he was doing, and he was a good kid the whole time. So I was like, I'm not gonna have my other character hold him responsible for it, even if she's got a tough life now. I mean, he was a kid too. Like, I get it.
Yeah, me too. My Jay, I played very kind-hearted for someone who got caught in a bad situation. He definitely should have been in jail and everything if he got caught, but the way they were talking about putting him on execution or what, death row.
Yeah, some of the other endings, it's like when she visits him, like he's on death row.
Yes. So actually, during the game, if you ever get caught by the cops, there's multiple areas where you have to run from the cops and avoid them. If you ever get caught by the cops, the ending will be in jail, and she visits him before he's about to be executed, and then from there you can choose if she watches it or not. I also looked it up, in that Canada ending, if you say your family ruined my life, he's like, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can say to make it better. I'm gonna go walk away with my dog. There's a signal booster on the roof here. If you want to call the cops and everything, I'm not running. And he'll just give himself up to the cops and then be executed. Yeah. So in Canada, he's got a little bit of a beard going on. If he goes to prison, he has glasses and he's got a short haircut and everything. He really looks the part of a fugitive. That's,
dude on death row. Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the end here. Jim, Zoe's grandpa, once you return home from Canada, she gets a voicemail from him saying, I have a confession. I'd been to Rock County before. I'd been to that area, and I have a feeling that this was all because of something I did. She walks into his apartment, and he gets shot by an intruder that he had been saying broke into his place and robbed him of something earlier before. And then he just runs out and the game ends.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was completely lost because I thought there was more game. I thought we were going into another flashback to figure out what Jim did in Two Rock County before, why he was giving us that voice message. Because there's little bits and pieces spread throughout that first chapter that is like, oh, he's been here before. Paul recognizes him. When Sharon comes in, he puts on a hat and hides his face. He definitely knows these people to some extent, but it's never fully went into, and I was completely lost at the ending there. And I did look it up. There's no way to change that ending. Jim always gets shot by that guy and dies. Mm-hmm. What did you think of the ending? Like, what was going through your head when that happened?
I was just like, season 2, here we go.
Yeah.
There's clearly more stories to tell. I was like, so again, we know it from the beginning, like, he's definitely shady. Mm-hmm. Like, he says certain things certain ways, and like, Jim is definitely a guy that is up to some shenanigans, whatever it may be. I didn't know what they were. I did do some looking on Reddit and taking clues from some of those early episodes. I have some interesting theories.
All right.
If you wanted to hear them.
Yeah.
So we know that Jay isn't a full brother of the rest of the whole family, right? The whole thing was that he was adopted, but he was still blood. I believe is specifically what they say. So there's
he was
a thing,
Sharon's sister's son.
Sharon's sister's kid.
Yeah.
And I think there was, oh God, I can't remember now, but something about that being Jim was Jay's dad. Mm-hmm. Again, because he came through Two Rock before. The fact that, so the story is really about two families. It's about the Holtz, and it's about Dante and his cousin. And Dante's cousin was like, oh, do I know you? Have I seen you before? So it seems like he's either involved in the debt collectors, or he is, some people think he's like Bear's brother or Jim's dad. Because they're like, oh, your family, but they gave you to us. And then again, whenever he's around Sharon specifically, he puts the hat on, is like, tries to hide from Sharon. So it's like, why would he hide from Sharon? Not the kids, not the cousin. Why would he hide from Sharon specifically? It's like, oh,
and he is also he's also known for leaving his son and family because he left Vince forever ago. Yeah, I like that theory.
Just like Bear. Honestly, him and Bear are the same person. They both abandon their family and are kind of bad dudes who try to make amends. So people are like, specifically because he hides from Sharon, it's like Sharon should know who he is if she saw his face. Mm-hmm. So clearly, people are just putting together that maybe he's Jim's dad.
Yeah, or, he also very. It's a very out front, like, oh, I recognize that person. I'm hiding my face, kind of.
And also, I believe if you have subtitles on at the very end before the guy kills him, he's talking to him and he says something about like, I didn't even pay the debt collector. He brings up something about debt collectors or something about paying a debt. Mm-hmm. But that's you only hear that if you have subtitles on, because I think it's hard to hear. So maybe it's like, oh, this is related to them. They never paid back, and they said they're going to kill your family if you don't pay us back this money. So maybe they came after Jim because the debt was never paid, or because she stole all that money, or somebody stole all the money with the black book from the criminal organization, and now they're coming after the people who are related to it.
I don't know about that, because even if you don't let them take the money, if you get Sharon captured, like they wouldn't have it. So, but he still dies at the end.
That's true.
I like the idea that Jay is his son. I didn't consider that, and that's a very real possibility. Looking at all the things he's been there before, he recognizes these people. I don't understand why he would want to go back to that area, though. I mean,
he just made amends with his son, so maybe he's trying to make amends with the other ones too.
Maybe.
But then it was Asu's situation. I don't know. Again, these are just theories on Reddit. No one.
Yeah. I don't know. There's got to be something else in that area that he wanted to go to but just couldn't, in my opinion. Yeah. Because they were driving towards the town and everything, and then they had the car wreck and ended up going to the motel. If that hadn't happened, I believe just spitballing here that there was probably someone in that town that he has to talk to. Maybe it's a debt collector. Maybe that's really all it is just.
And also remember, at the very beginning, they're like, "Dad, where'd you take Zeus? You just took him for walks." Oh man, I just had to take off. Zeus got to go. He's got to go, and he's just gone for like 10, 15 minutes, and no one knows where he is.
That is true. Yeah.
So again, I don't know if there's an answer, but they're like sprinkling stuff in, like Jim is clearly connected somehow to this town and is shady.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on there that I would imagine. Well, I guess a DLC option for a game like this just doesn't really add up. That most games don't do something like that. I mean, it has happened with like the Minecraft story mode games, but like usually they try and tell a complete story here. Maybe that is a sequel in the future, As Dusk Falls 2. We get to see Jim's past and meet Jay's mom and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's my guess is either it would be completely in a sequel, or if they did a DLC, it's like one chapter all about Jim, and that was it. But I think a sequel just makes more. I assume with it being on Game Pass and being also on Steam, I think if as long as enough people download it on Game Pass, Microsoft will give them money again to do another game. So if I had to guess,
overall, I think this was a good game. I love playing it on my phone using Game Pass, xCloud. It plays great there.
It's such a perfect phone game.
Absolutely.
Just like what you do in the game, there's no reason you couldn't play this streaming.
You can also you download a free companion app and use your phone as a controller when you're playing on your Xbox and stuff. That I didn't actually try it, but I downloaded the app and considered giving it a try. But yeah, I think they handled this game pretty well. I'm not the biggest fan of that ending, because it just feels like, okay, I thought I had the whole story here for the most part, and now I don't because Jim died from some random guy. I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but overall, I enjoyed it. I think it's a good game. It's definitely worth downloading on Game Pass, even though it's like 50 gigs, which is ridiculous, I think.
It is a big download. Yeah, for especially if a Game Pass, like absolutely. And I think, because I'm just have the Google open, I think it's only like $30 on Steam. If I had to pay for it, I think $30 for like this good of a story and this good of actors, I still would not have a problem with.
And if you're a person that enjoys going back and seeing all these different endings, there is a wide like spider web of all the different choices you can make. Obviously, a lot of them will end at similar points at the end of each chapter, but you get to see a lot of different things. People can die, people can get arrested sooner than others. There's a lot of different things that can happen, as you might have seen from here in mine and Adam's story comparisons. But I think that is where we are going to end this discussion video. Adam, thanks so much for hopping on and talking with me. Where can the people find you?
Thanks for having me, of course, always. You can find me at Adam Gumby on Twitter. That's where I'll just tweet about I Love Mr. Rolls or Respawn Aim Fire, one of the two things. So yeah, just go follow me there. We'll have a good time.
All right, and I am John Hansen. You can find me on Twitter at RevXShadows. You can find my writing on GamePro.com. Lots of game guides and reviews and stuff. And also, if you like this video, please leave a like, comment down below what happened in your story, subscribe to see any of our future videos, follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street, and all that stuff. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!